What is reflective writing and how do you do it? If you've been asked to write reflectively, it will be specified clearly in your assignment brief. Reflective writing is a particular skill and one that can feel difficult at first, but with practice is actually extremely rewarding and can result in real personal growth. Reflective writing can be used in a number of ways at university and is typically attached to reflecting on specific placements, an event or a project or group work. However, it can be used more broadly than that, and you might be asked to reflect on your learning journey, for example. Sometimes it can be easier to define something by clarifying what it isn't. So, a common mistake that people make when they're attempting reflective writing is to drift into descriptive writing. So, imagine you're trying to do a jigsaw. Descriptive writing is like when you're carefully arranging the pieces and you're making sure they fit together accurately to form a clear picture. It's the what, when, who, and where of the event in question. What happened? Who did it? When did it happen? Where did it happen? And all reflective writing will include a bit of descriptive writing to provide the context, but you need to keep this to a minimum as it's the reflective writing that's going to get you the marks. Reflective writing is like stepping back from the jigsaw and you're examining that overall picture and you're trying to understand the meaning behind that arrangement. You're analysing it, you're considering how it connects to other pieces and other puzzles that you've solved and what insights that's bringing to you. So, reflective writing is all about the how and the why. You're reflecting on how you did something and why you did it in that way, and how you would do things differently next time. What have you learnt that's going to help you grow and develop? So, in essence, descriptive writing is about presenting the facts, whereas reflective writing is about interpreting meaning and trying to solve the puzzle. When you're conducting reflective writing, you need to be both looking back at the event in question and then also looking forward. So start with what happened. This is going to be mostly descriptive. You're laying out the scene. Don't spend too long in this stage. You're just setting the context. Your feeling and your analysis is going to come later. So where were you? What happened? What were you doing? What were others doing? What was your part? What was the part of others? Secondly, how did you feel about it? So what was going on in your head at the time? How did other people's actions affect how you felt? And looking back, how do you feel about it now with hindsight? And consider the range of emotions that you went through. Which one feels like it was the most significant? Evaluate it. So, what went well and what went badly? And when you are evaluating it, try and be honest and as objective as possible and reflect on your role as well as the role of others. What went well? What didn't go so well? Next, we're going to analyze it. So, why did it happen? And this is your chance to examine what happened through a critical lens. So, you're looking at the evidence and you're making sense of the situation. Why did it happen like it did? And this is a real opportunity for personal growth and for you to explore what factors led up to the event. And this is a great section to include lots of evidence from your academic sources. What does the research say around this? And you'll be able to find robust, credible evidence sources from your Teesside University catalogue, which contains a huge amount of peer-reviewed journals, academic books and databases. Next, consider what could you have done differently? And this is your conclusion. You're thinking about what have you learned from this situation? How could it have been made more positive for everyone? What changes could you make in the future? What transferable skills have you learned from that experience? And this should flow on pretty naturally from the analysis section where you're laying out your evidence for change. And finally, what would you do differently next time? So you're concluding with a concrete action plan. What steps will you take to improve the situation? Are there any skills that you need to develop in the meantime? How are you going to develop those skills? What do you need to put in place for you to be successful? So, what we've essentially just done is gone through Gibbs' cycle of reflection, which can be a really useful framework or model that you can use to help you with structuring your reflective writing. And there are loads of different reflective models out there, and your tutor might actually suggest one that they want you to follow. Unless you've been told otherwise in your assessment brief, reflective writing is usually written in the first person. So you can say things like, I did this, we did that. However, don't forget that you are conducting academic writing still. So make sure that you're including academic research and evidence and that you're using language that reflects an academic tone. So, for example, when you're describing and analysing your experience, you can use phrases like, Initially, I thought, subsequently, I realized, this experience highlighted the concept of, and so forth. When you're reflecting on your thoughts and feelings and actions, you might want to say things like, I have developed my understanding of, or this experience has highlighted I need to develop my skills in. And when you're connecting your experience to theory or previous knowledge, you could say things like, this research helps to explain what happened because, or having read around the issue, I now realize, or this experience is typical of what X researcher argues. And when you're forming conclusions, you're wrapping all that up. So you'll be using phrases like, as a result, I have, or I will now need to, or this experience has shown me, or this understanding will be useful to me in the future because. So this has just been a very quick introduction to reflective writing, but you can get more help from the Teesside University Succeed at Tees Library Workshop series, where we cover topics like reflective writing and critical thinking in depth, and we also offer additional support with academic writing through our Learning Hub, and you can find out more information on our library webpage.